The lights in Seattle General's emergency room buzzed like they always did. A woman leaned against the check-in desk, her breathing coming in short, painful gasps. Her lips had a blue tint to them. Sweat covered her face even though the room was cold. "Please," her daughter said, gripping her mom's arm. "We've been waiting for 3 hours. She can't breathe." Behind the desk, Dr. Jennifer Walsh barely looked up from her phone. Her white coat was spotless. Her nails were done. Her name tag had more letters after her name than most people had in their whole name. "I can see the line," Jennifer said, her voice flat. "Everyone thinks they're the most important." "She has stage 4 lung cancer," the daughter said, her voice shaking. "The pain meds stopped working. She needs help right now." "Oncology opens at 8 in the morning," Jennifer cut her off. "This is the ER. Your mom looks stable to me." The woman at the desk made a sound like something was tearing inside her chest. "She's not stable," the daughter yelled. People turned to look. Phones came out of pockets. Jennifer finally looked up, annoyed. "Do not raise your voice at me. If you can't calm down, security will remove you." The daughter's hands were shaking. "Please, just look at her, please." Jennifer stood up. Her heels clicked on the floor as she walked around the desk. She had that look, the one that said she was important and you were wasting her time. She glanced at the woman. Gray skin, unfocused eyes, chest moving up and down too fast like she couldn't get enough air. "Anxiety," Jennifer said. "Cancer patients get it all the time. There's a waiting room over there. Use it." "She's dying," the daughter whispered. Jennifer leaned in closer. Someone's phone caught every word. "Everyone here is sick. That's why it's called a hospital. Your mother is not my priority." The woman slumped forward. Someone in the crowd gasped. Jennifer waved her hand like she was swatting a fly. "Next patient." Security started walking over. The daughter was crying now, trying to hold her mom up. An older nurse rushed over, her face tight with anger, and helped them to a chair in the corner. Jennifer went back to her desk. Around her, people whispered, phones recorded, eyes judged. Nobody in that emergency room knew who the woman was. Nobody knew that the daughter had a direct line to the hospital's board of directors. Nobody knew that in 6 hours, there was a meeting that would decide the future of Seattle General's cancer research program, a $400 million grant that could save thousands of lives. And nobody knew that Jennifer's cruelty had just started something that would change everything. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. The hospital woke up before the sun, like it always did. Workers pushed carts down hallways that smelled like cleaning products and fear. Nurses changed shifts, their faces showing that special kind of tired that comes from holding people together when everything wants to fall apart. Dr. Jennifer Walsh got to work at 6:47 in the morning, exactly like she always did. Early enough to look dedicated, late enough to miss the night shift's problems. Her car was a silver BMW that she leased through some doctor program she'd negotiated herself. Her coffee came from the private doctor's lounge, not the burnt stuff the younger doctors drank. She wore her authority like it was part of her skin. People moved out of her way in the hallways. Medical students stuttered when she asked them questions. Young doctors apologized before she even told them what they did wrong. Jennifer had earned this, full scholarship to medical school, top of her class in residency, published in 3 big medical journals before she turned 35. She had fought her way up from a childhood where doctor was something you saw on TV, not something you became. She had worked too hard to let anyone, especially desperate family members who didn't understand how emergency rooms worked, disrespect her in her own department. Her phone buzzed. A text from the chief of medicine. Emergency board meeting, 9 a.m. "You need to be there." Jennifer frowned. Board meetings didn't usually involve ER doctors unless something bad had happened. She thought through her recent cases in her head. Nothing major. A few complaints, but complaints were normal in emergency medicine. People always complained. She texted back, "I'll be there." Across the city, in a bright apartment with a view of Puget Sound, Dr. Rachel Kim helped her mother drink water. The woman's hands shook. Every sip was hard, like her lungs had forgotten how to work with the rest of her body. "You should have let me call an ambulance," Rachel said quietly. Her mother shook her head. "You had your presentation." Rachel set the glass down. Her presentation was supposed to be a pitch to the hospital board about a research partnership with the Global Health Initiative, a partnership that would bring new cancer treatment trials to Seattle General. $400 million. Access to treatments that didn't exist anywhere else yet. Hope for patients who had none left. She had canceled it when her mother collapsed. "I rescheduled for today," Rachel said. "They understood." Her mother touched her daughter's face. "You've always been too nice." Rachel smiled, but it was sad. Somebody has to be. She helped her mother back to bed, making sure the oxygen tube was sitting right. Her mother had been a nurse for 40 years before the cancer came. She knew what was happening. They both did. Last night's shame still burned in Rachel's chest, but she had learned a long time ago that anger was a luxury. She had spent 15 years running medical programs in refugee camps, cholera outbreaks, war injuries, children who had seen things no child should ever see. One mean doctor was nothing compared to that. Still, her phone had the video. Multiple angles, clear sound. She could destroy that woman's career with one post. She had chosen not to, not because she was weak, because she was smart. At 8:30, Rachel left her mother with a home health nurse and drove to Seattle General. She wore a simple black dress and flat shoes. No jewelry except her mother's old wedding ring on her right hand. Her credentials were in her bag: medical degree, public health doctorate, letters of recommendation from 3 Nobel Prize winners. She walked in through the main doors, not the emergency entrance. She never wanted to see that place again. A hospital administrator met her in the lobby. "Dr. Kim, they're ready for you in conference room A." "Thank you." They rode the elevator without talking. Rachel watched the floor numbers light up, one after another. Each floor was a place where someone's life changed. Birth, death, everything in between. The conference room doors opened. 12 people sat around a big table. The chief of medicine, the hospital CEO, board members in expensive suits, research people with laptops open. And in the chair closest to the door, looking at her phone like she was annoyed at having to be there, sat Dr. Jennifer Walsh. Their eyes met. Jennifer's face went through changes fast: confusion, recognition, shock, then something that looked like fear. Rachel's face stayed calm. She just nodded and took her seat at the head of the table. The CEO stood up. "Thank you all for coming on short notice. I want to introduce Dr. Rachel Kim, Director of Global Health Initiatives for the World Health Organization. Dr. Kim is here to talk about a partnership that could make Seattle General a leader in cancer research." Jennifer's phone slipped in her hands. "Dr. Kim," the CEO kept going, "has worked in 23 countries. She's published over 50 papers. She personally designed treatment plans that have saved about 40,000 lives. We're lucky she's considering Seattle General for this partnership." Rachel nodded her head slightly. "Thank you. Before we start, I need to understand something about this hospital's culture." The room got tense. Pens stopped moving. "Culture?" the CEO asked carefully. "Yes," Rachel said quietly. "Because this partnership isn't just about buildings or money. It's about values. It's about how we treat people when we think nobody important is watching." Jennifer stopped breathing for a second. Rachel opened her bag and put a phone on the table. She didn't play the video. She didn't need to. "Last night," Rachel said, "my mother and I came to your emergency room. She's dying of lung cancer. She couldn't breathe. We waited 3 hours to be seen." The silence felt heavy, like the air had turned solid. "When we finally got to the desk, we were dismissed, not examined, dismissed, by a doctor who looked at a dying woman and saw only an inconvenience." The chief of medicine's face went pale. "Dr. Kim, Rachel held up her hand gently. "I'm not here for an apology. I'm here to make a decision." She looked at Jennifer directly for the first time. Jennifer sat frozen, all her authority collapsed into nothing. "The question I have," Rachel continued, her voice staying calm, "is whether this hospital is capable of the kind of care that makes research meaningful. Because we can cure diseases in labs, but if we don't have compassion in the hallways, we haven't cured anything." A board member cleared his throat. "Dr. Kim, one doctor's behavior doesn't represent—" "It represents exactly what it represents," Rachel interrupted. "Permission, culture, the belief that some lives matter less than others." Jennifer finally found her voice. "I didn't know—" "No," Rachel said simply. "You didn't. That's the problem." The room held its breath. Rachel stood up. "I'll come back in 1 week. If this hospital can show me that last night was unusual and not normal, I'll think about moving forward. If not, I'll take this partnership somewhere else." She picked up her things. "And Dr. Walsh," Rachel added, looking at Jennifer one last time, "I hope you spend this week understanding what you couldn't see last night. Not because I want revenge, because I want better for the next patient who walks through those doors." Rachel left. The door closed softly. Jennifer sat in the silence, her perfect career cracking open like ice in spring. The chief of medicine's office was smaller than Jennifer expected. Dr. Richard Brooks sat behind his desk, his face giving nothing away. Jennifer stood because nobody had told her to sit. "Tell me what happened," he said. Jennifer wanted to defend herself, to explain triage rules, to talk about the 17 other patients she saw that night. The words lined up in her throat, ready to go. "I dismissed her," she heard herself say instead. "I looked at a dying woman and made her daughter beg." Richard studied her. "The video has been viewed 50,000 times. Local news wants a statement. 3 board members have called me this morning." Jennifer's stomach dropped. "I can explain." "Can you?" She stopped. "Jennifer," Richard said, his voice getting a little softer, "you're a brilliant doctor. Your medical knowledge is amazing. But knowledge without compassion is just information." "I see 50 patients every shift," Jennifer said, and she hated how defensive she sounded. "I can't—" "You can't what?" Richard asked. "You can't take 30 seconds to look someone in the eye? You can't examine a patient who obviously can't breathe? Or you can't be bothered when someone seems beneath you?" The words hit like punches. "I've made a decision," Richard continued. "You're suspended from patient care for 2 weeks. You'll spend that time in different parts of the hospital, just watching. No white coat, no authority." Jennifer's face got hot. "You're demoting me." "I'm giving you perspective," Richard said, "which you clearly need." "And if I refuse?" Richard looked at her steadily. "Then you're showing me that you care more about your ego than your patients." Jennifer left his office feeling something she hadn't felt in years. Powerless. Day 1, Richard sent her to hospice care. Jennifer showed up at 7 in the morning wearing scrubs without her name on them. Nobody recognized her. She was just another person in hospital clothes. The hospice unit was quiet in a way the ER never was. Here, there was no rush, no urgency. The work wasn't about saving lives. It was about making death less terrible. "You'll follow Nurse Patterson today," Richard had said. "Do what she asks. Say less than you think you need to." Nurse Patterson was 61 years old, with gray in her hair and hands that moved gently, carefully. She barely looked at Jennifer. "Room 407, Patterson said. "Mr. Davis needs his bandage changed. Come on." Jennifer followed. Mr. Davis was dying of pancreatic cancer. The room smelled like medical supplies and trying to keep dignity when your body is falling apart. Patterson spoke to him softly as she got things ready. "Hold this," she told Jennifer, handing her a bowl. Jennifer held it. Patterson worked with steady hands, cleaning a wound that would never heal. A wound that only existed to be managed until the man's body finally gave up. "Does it hurt?" Patterson asked him. "Yes," Mr. Davis said. "I know," Patterson said. "I'm sorry." Those 2 words hung in the air. Jennifer couldn't remember the last time she had said, "I'm sorry," to a patient. When the bandage was done, Patterson sat next to the bed for 5 minutes, just sat there. She asked about Mr. Davis's daughter, about his garden, about nothing urgent, time that Jennifer would have called wasted. Outside the room, Jennifer spoke carefully. We could have done that faster. Patterson looked at her with eyes that had seen too much death to care about impressing anyone. Faster for who? Patterson asked. Jennifer had no answer. That night, Jennifer went home to her apartment. Clean, expensive, empty. She opened her laptop to check medical journals and found herself searching for the video instead. She watched it once, watched herself lean down, watched her lips say the words, "Your mother is not my priority." She watched the woman slump forward, watched the daughter's face break, watched herself turn away. Jennifer closed the laptop. She didn't sleep well. Day 3 brought her to the clinic for people without insurance. Free care, donated time, doctors rotating through because they had to or because they actually cared. Jennifer had never been sure which. Today, she would find out. Dr. Tom Rivera ran the clinic with calm authority Jennifer recognized. He had been a combat medic in Afghanistan before medical school. Now he treated diabetes and high blood pressure and infections that could have been stopped if poverty wasn't its own disease. You'll do intake, he told Jennifer. Vital signs, medical history, basic exam. I'll handle treatment plans. Jennifer tensed up. I'm an attending physician. Not today, Tom said calmly. Today you're learning to listen. The patients came steady. A woman with diabetes who couldn't afford insulin. A man with an infected wound who had been using old antibiotics. A teenager with asthma whose inhaler ran out 2 months ago. Each story was a list of barriers Jennifer had never thought about. One woman sat across from her, eyes tired, holding a sleeping baby. I work 2 jobs, the woman said, but neither one gives me insurance. The blood pressure medicine costs $200 a month. Jennifer took her blood pressure, 180 over 110. Dangerously high. You could have a stroke, Jennifer said. I know, the woman said, but I can't afford the medicine and feed my daughter, so I pick her. Jennifer opened her mouth to explain how important treatment was, then stopped. This woman knew. Everyone here knew. Knowledge wasn't the problem. The system was the problem. After the woman left, Jennifer found Tom. How do you do this? Just write down suffering you can't fix? Tom smiled, but it was sad. I don't write down suffering. I witness it. There's a difference. What difference? Writing things down is for charts, Tom said. Witnessing is for humans. One makes you a professional. The other makes you a doctor. Jennifer felt something crack inside her chest. By day 7, Jennifer was in the children's ward. Kids' voices echoed through halls painted in bright colors meant to hide sadness. She helped nurses change sheets. She read stories to kids whose parents couldn't visit during work hours. She held a bowl while a 6-year-old threw up from chemotherapy. Not once did anyone ask her opinion. Not once did anyone treat her like she was important. She was just hands, just presence, just a witness. On day 9, she went back to hospice. Mr. Davis had gotten worse. His breathing was hard. His daughter sat next to him, holding his hand. Patterson asked Jennifer to sit with them while she got medication. Jennifer sat. The daughter looked up, her eyes red. It's soon, isn't it? The daughter asked. Jennifer knew the medical answer. Hours, maybe less. But sitting there, watching this man's chest go up and down, watching his daughter's face, the medical answer felt wrong. Yes, Jennifer said softly. I'm sorry. The daughter nodded. Will he be in pain? We'll make sure he's not, Jennifer said. I promise. Thank you, the daughter whispered. When Patterson came back, Jennifer helped move Mr. Davis into a better position, helped give him comfort medication, helped his daughter understand what each difficult breath meant. Mr. Davis died at 3:17 in the afternoon. His daughter held one hand. Patterson held the other. Jennifer stood at the end of the bed, useless and present. After, in the break room, Patterson made tea. First time watching someone die? She asked. No, Jennifer said. First time being still enough to really see it. Patterson nodded. That's the start. On day 14, Jennifer met with Richard again. Have you learned anything? He asked. Jennifer thought about her answer carefully. The old Jennifer would have listed skills, shown off knowledge. The new Jennifer, or maybe just the slightly more honest Jennifer, said something different. I learned that I've been treating medicine like a performance, she said, and I forgot that patients are the audience that matters. Richard leaned back. What else? That being fast isn't the same as caring, Jennifer continued. That authority without empathy is just control, that I became exactly the kind of doctor I promised myself I'd never be. And Dr. Kim? Jennifer swallowed hard. I owe her more than an apology. I owe her proof that I've changed. Richard studied her. She's coming back tomorrow. There's a public forum before her final decision. The board wants you there. Jennifer's chest got tight. To explain? To listen, Richard corrected. Can you do that? Jennifer thought about Patterson, about Tom, about all the times in the past 2 weeks she had kept her mouth shut and learned more than she ever learned by talking. Yes, she said, I can. The forum was in the hospital's big auditorium. Press came. Community members filled the seats. The board sat on stage, looking appropriately serious. Jennifer sat in the third row, not on stage. She had asked for that. Dr. Rachel Kim walked in to respectful applause. She took her place at the podium with the same quiet authority Jennifer remembered from the conference room. Thank you for coming, Rachel started. I'm here to talk about whether Seattle General is the right partner for life-saving research. But first, I want to talk about my mother. The room got quiet. She died 6 days ago, Rachel said simply. Peacefully at home with hospice care that was kind and dignified. Jennifer's breath caught. She hadn't known. The night we came to this hospital's emergency room, Rachel continued, wasn't about saving her life. That ship had sailed. It was about managing her pain so she could have quality time in the time she had left. That's all we wanted. Pain management, dignity, to be seen. Rachel paused. Instead, we were dismissed. And I want to be clear. This isn't about one doctor having a bad night. This is about system failures that let that bad night happen. Whispers moved through the crowd. But, Rachel said, I've spent the past 2 weeks watching. I've talked to nurses, clinic staff, patients, and I've learned something important. She looked straight at Jennifer. Change is possible, Rachel said, when people choose discomfort over being defensive, when hospitals value accountability over reputation, when doctors remember that the white coat is a privilege, not a right. The room was silent. A question. Someone called from the audience. For Dr. Walsh. Jennifer's stomach dropped. The woman stood up. She was the mother from the free clinic, the one with high blood pressure. I saw you, the woman said. Last week, at Dr. Rivera's clinic. You took my blood pressure. You helped me understand my medications. You didn't talk down to me. Jennifer stood up slowly, heart pounding. I'm not asking if you're sorry, the woman continued. I'm asking if you'll stay different. Every eye in the room was on Jennifer. I can't promise I'll be perfect, Jennifer said, her voice carrying without being loud. But I can promise attention. I can promise that I'll remember what I learned these past 2 weeks, that every person who comes through those doors is somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody who deserves to be seen. She looked at Rachel. Including yours, especially yours. I'm sorry I failed her. I'm sorry I failed you. Rachel's face didn't soften, but something changed in her eyes. Thank you, Rachel said simply. The partnership was announced 3 days later. $400 million, 20 new research jobs, access to experimental treatments for patients who had no other options. Jennifer wasn't part of the announcement. She was back in the emergency room working a shift under supervision, learning how to practice medicine again. A young homeless man came in with an infected cut on his foot. The old Jennifer would have treated it fast, efficiently, gotten him out. This Jennifer took an extra 5 minutes, asked his name, asked how long he had been on the streets, actually listened to the answer. "Thank you," he said as she finished the bandage. "For not making me feel like garbage." Jennifer smiled. "I'm trying to be better." "It shows," he said. Small moments. That's what 2 weeks had taught her. Medicine wasn't built on the big dramatic saves. It was built on small moments of actually being present. 3 months later, Rachel asked to meet. They met at a coffee shop near the hospital. Neutral ground. "How is the department?" Rachel asked. "Changing," Jennifer said honestly. "Slowly. I started a review program focused on patient experience, not just medical outcomes. It's uncomfortable. That's how I know it's working." Rachel nodded. "And you?" "Also changing," Jennifer said. "Also slowly." They sat quiet for a moment. "I need to tell you something," Jennifer said. "I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know that your mother's death taught me more about medicine than 10 years of practice. That's not fair to her. It's not fair that she had to suffer for me to learn, but I'm trying to make sure her suffering matters." Rachel's eyes got shiny with tears. "She would appreciate that. She was a nurse, you know. She spent her life teaching people to be better. I think she'd be okay knowing her death did the same." "I wish I'd known her," Jennifer said quietly. "Me too," Rachel said. She reached into her bag and pulled out a photo. An older woman in nurse's scrubs, smiling, surrounded by kids. "Her name was Helen," Rachel said, "and she believed every patient deserved to be treated well, even the difficult ones, especially the difficult ones." Jennifer took the photo carefully, looking at the face. "Can I keep this?" Rachel hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, but with one condition." "What condition?" "That you remember," Rachel said. "Not what you did wrong, but what you're choosing to do different." Jennifer put the photo in her wallet. "I will." A year later, Jennifer was invited to speak at a conference about compassionate care. She almost said no. Speaking felt too much like the old her, the one who performed instead of practiced. But Richard convinced her. "People need to hear that change is possible." She stood on a stage in front of 300 doctors and told the truth. "I became a doctor to help people," she started. "But somewhere along the way I forgot that help isn't just medical treatment. It's presence. It's seeing people when they're invisible to everyone else. It's knowing that our bad day might be the worst day of someone else's life." She told them about Helen, about the emergency room, about 2 weeks of having her authority taken away and getting her humanity back. "I can't undo what I did," Jennifer said. "But I can choose who I am in every interaction from now on. And so can you." The applause was respectful, but quiet. She hadn't inspired them. She had challenged them. That felt right. After a young resident came up to her. "Dr. Walsh," he said nervously, "I was there that night. I saw what happened. I thought about reporting you, but I was scared." Jennifer nodded. "You should have reported me." "I know," he said. "But I wanted you to know. Watching you change changed me too. I'm trying to practice medicine different because of it." Jennifer felt emotion tighten her throat. "Then Helen's death wasn't meaningless." "Who's Helen?" Jennifer pulled out her wallet and showed him the photo, now worn at the edges from a year of being looked at, remembered, honored. "She's the woman who taught me that the white coat doesn't make me a doctor," Jennifer said. "How I wear it does." The research partnership grew strong. Clinical trials saved lives, papers got published. Seattle General became known not just for new ideas, but for caring about patients, a reputation rebuilt one patient at a time. Jennifer never forgot. She kept Helen's photo in her wallet. She started each shift by reminding herself that every patient was someone's loved one. She taught medical students that being excellent at medicine without caring was just expensive cruelty. Sometimes people recognized her from the video. The comments were still there online, a permanent record of her worst moment. She didn't hide from it. When people asked, she told the truth. "Yes, that was me, and this is who I'm choosing to be now." Not redemption, responsibility. Rachel and Jennifer didn't become friends exactly, but they became something more important, witnesses to each other's humanity. They talked about difficult cases. They spoke honestly about the failures of medical culture. They pushed Seattle General to be better, constantly, uncomfortably. One afternoon, Jennifer got a call. A young woman in the emergency room was being dismissed by a resident. The woman's elderly father couldn't breathe. Jennifer walked to the ER immediately. The resident saw her and got defensive. "Dr. Walsh, I was just—" Jennifer held up her hand gently. "Show me the patient." She examined the man carefully, talked to the daughter, listened without interrupting. Then she turned to the resident. "What do you see?" she asked quietly. "Chronic condition, not an emergency." "No," Jennifer interrupted. "What do you see? Not the chart, the person." The resident looked at the man again. Really looked. At the fear in his eyes, at his daughter's shaking hands. "I see someone suffering," the resident said slowly. "Someone who needs help now." "Yes," Jennifer said. "Always start there." She helped admit the patient. She stayed while they got him stable. She talked with the daughter, remembering another daughter, another emergency room, another moment when seeing someone would have changed everything. "Thank you," the daughter said. "Most doctors are in such a hurry." Jennifer smiled. "I used to be. Someone taught me better." As she walked back through the hospital that evening, past the hospice unit, past the free clinic, past all the places where she learned to be a real doctor and not just someone with a medical degree, Jennifer felt something close to peace. Not because she had been forgiven, because she had learned what mattered. The white coat still hung in her locker. But now, before putting it on each day, she touched the photo in her wallet. Helen's face reminded her that medicine wasn't about authority. It was about service. And service, she had learned, meant seeing people. All of them. Even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. That lesson had cost a woman her dignity in her last days. Jennifer would spend the rest of her career making sure that cost mattered. Not through big gestures, through small moments. One patient at a time, one choice at a time, one day at a time. That was the work. Quiet, not glamorous, essential. And finally, after everything, Jennifer understood what it really meant to heal. The story you just heard isn't really about one doctor's mistake. It's about the moment we realize that our job title doesn't excuse us from being human. Jennifer's journey shows us that being good at your job without caring about people is dangerous. That the people we dismiss when we're in a hurry are the same people who could teach us everything we need to know about actually being good at what we do. Helen's death should never have been needed for Jennifer to learn compassion. But since it happened, the question is, what do we do with lessons that cost so much? Jennifer chose to honor the lesson by living different, by teaching different, by remembering that every patient interaction is a choice between control and connection, between speed and humanity, between performing medicine and actually practicing it. This story asks all of us when we have power over others, in hospitals, in offices, or in everyday life, what do we choose? Do we use that power to control, or do we use it to serve? And when we fail, like we all do, what comes next? Do we get defensive, or do we do the difficult, unglamorous work of actually changing? If this story moved you, take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever witnessed or experienced dismissive care? How did it change you? And if you believe stories about accountability and transformation matter, don't forget to subscribe. More powerful stories are coming, and your presence here truly matters. Remember, we're all one moment away from being either Jennifer or Helen. The question is, when that moment comes, who will we choose to be?